This is Mike Carruthers, producer of the Storytelling Project. I have a special treat for us today. I've had a chance to meet a new friend, Margo Prentice, who attends Eagle Ridge United Church, and Margo is a storyteller. Well, she's officially retired. She still is a storyteller and has had her stories published in on one storytelling contest in the past. Today's story is about two pigs, Howard and Louie. It was recorded on September 15th, 2020 at Eagle Ridge United Church in Coquitlam, British Columbia. Enjoy.
My name is Margo Prentice.
And you're here to read me one of your stories?
Yes, I write short stories and poetry. I've been published, and I've won a few contests, and I enjoy it. It's my hobby. I entertain myself by writing stories.
That's lovely. This is perfect. So have you got a story you want to share with me?
I have so many, but this is one. This is called Howard and Louie.
Okay.
And it's about pigs. The day at my son's farm is a fun time. My son Brad is retired from a fast-paced executive job. He was a CEO, and now he's a farmer. I was so excited to see his new farm and meet some of his newly acquired creatures. And I traveled on the bus to his farm. He looked different. His appearance had changed. He wasn't wearing a suit. He had boots on, and he wore denim overalls, no suit and tie and white shirt. Driving to the farm, he told me about his chickens and goats. However, he was most excited about his pigs. And he had two. He called them Howard and Louie. And he said, "They're so cute, Mom." He proceeded to tell me all about his new possessions. I knew very little about pigs, except that I like bacon and spare ribs. I was to learn that they had different personalities. They like lying in the sun, and they love to explore, and they're social and playful, and they have good memories. The day I met Howard and Louie, it was sunny, and as we walked to the small fenced-in field where they roamed, my son had a big smile on his face and as he carried buckets of their food. The buckets were filled with garden vegetables. A generous local grocer friend of his would just give him everything at the end of the day of leftover vegetables and fruits. Brad, my son, as friend and neighbor, sold Howie and Louie to him as starter pigs. The day I met them, they weighed about 150 pounds. They were a Berkshire Tamworth cross, which is kind of high up in the pig world. Their skin was beige and covered with black spots. Their snouts were big, not as big as I expected, and they had cute curly little tails. When Brad called them by name, they came running to him with loud noises and furiously wagging their little tails. It was so cute. They seemed genuinely happy to see him. He said, "Look, Mom, they're smiling." I thought, well, maybe. Brad became quite fond of these pigs. They would run to him even when he didn't have food. They seemed genuinely happy to see him. Brad took delight in their reactions, feeding time, and enjoyed watching them eat their food with such relish. He made his daily run to the grocer and brought buckets of fruits, assorted fruits and vegetables. The day I was with him, he had fresh pineapple for them. He emptied the pail over the fence, and he shouted, "Here, pina colada for the boys." Howie was bigger and a little more aggressive than Louie, and often bullied him at the feeding trough. They were both friendly, Louie a little more so. They were the happiest creatures on earth. Together, they both shared their love of eating. No matter how many buckets of vegetables and fruit and grains my son threw at them, it was gone fast in a feeding frenzy. The ritual feeding of fresh grocery lasted for many weeks. Howard and Louie became gigantic. George phoned, asked a neighbor how they were doing. My son said, "Oh, fine. They can eat everything, and they're getting bigger every day. Come and see how they're doing. Well, George came over to see for himself. He chatted a while sipping a cold beer. After they finished drinking, they walked across the field to look in the pen and look at Howard and Louie. George leaned over the fence and said, "My God, what have you done? These guys are way over their 600-pound limit. I can just tell by looking at them." Perhaps Bradley said, "What do you mean, what have I done? These guys are way too fat. You've been overfeeding them. You need to put them on a diet, slim them down." Brad asked, "Well, how do I do that?" "I'll give you the name of proper food. Go easy on the mounts. Give them a bucket of fresh stuff every day. That's it. You need to slim these guys down." Howard and Louie were not happy about this. George, gone was a friendly, lovely greeting, and when they got their new food, no longer wagging their tails, they furiously snubbed Brad when he came and called them. Many weeks passed, and Howard and Louie slimmed down to the proper size. The day came when George came back to get them and load them on a pickup truck. They went reluctantly. George slammed the gate shut, and off he drove. Bradley could barely stand to see them go and say goodbye to them. A week later, they came wrapped up in packages of ham, sausage, ribs, roast, and bacon. Brad got over his sadness after his first barbecued feast of spare ribs. Pig farming isn't all that sad. However, he learned his lesson. Don't get attached and never give them names.
That's
Yeah. So there's a famous pigs in history: Piggly Wiggly, Peter Potter books, and Napoleon and George Orwell's Animal Farms.
Yeah, I remember reading what's that, the book about the pig that made it into a movie that I used to read my son when he was little.
I don't know.
Charlotte's Web.
Oh, Charlotte's Web, yeah. Anyway, that's a true story.